in many years, and searching for a 5-0 start for the first time even since then. So, certainly a big opportunity for both teams tonight.
Absolutely. Moto, you have joined me on for some broadcasts, especially at Franklin. Who do you give the edge to early on? Do you expect Franklin to run it up against Grant, or do you expect the defense of Grant to slow down Franklin?
I personally am not sure. I've heard great things about both teams and the fact that both of them are very, very high-ranking teams. So I am not quite sure what this game is going to look like, and I'm very, very excited to see what happens tonight because, like you said, I think this is going to be somewhat of a big deal.
Absolutely. Grant in the visiting white uniforms and blue numbering, blue pants, blue trim on the side. And for Franklin, the home maroon colors with white lettering for tonight's game. Grant will kick off to begin the first half as Franklin will receive. Back deep will be Oman for the Lightning and Wallace. Both of them are juniors for Franklin. Kicking off will be the quarterback, which you'll hear his name later on in tonight's game on offense, Kellen Siegel, the senior quarterback for the Grant Generals. Full moon rising tonight. We're just about ready to get this game going from Southeast Portland. And Siegel is into the ball, and we are in business. Returned at the 5-yard line for Franklin upfield, and he's brought down to the 19-yard line. On the return was Peterson for the Lightning, and that will set up the first drive for junior quarterback Will Reed, Sam. Coming in at 851 yards passing this year, 65.8% completion percentage.
Well, and Reed has also led this team to 167 points scored this season, #1 in the league. So potent offense for the Lightning.
Whistle sounding out on the field. We have a stoppage in play at the moment. And now we're ready to go. I think everyone needed to be aligned up. First and 10 for Franklin. On the handoff is Josiah Heintzman, and he gets a short gain of 2 on the run, and that will bring up second down from the 21-yard line. Actually, they'll give him a yard on the run.
It's going to be critical, too, Sean, for Grant to make sure that they slow down this Franklin offense. They do put up a lot of points, so trying to keep this thing close certainly is going to be the goal for the general defense.
Throw, and the pass is complete to Landau. Left side brought down to the 26-yard line. They picked up a 5 on the play, and that will bring up third down for the Lightning. Franklin coming in 4 consecutive games to start the year, scoring 35 points or more. That's the first time in school history that they have done that. 3rd and 5 from the 26-yard line for Will Reed. Reed in the shotgun. He's got 2 receivers out to the left and right. He'll hand it off to Heintzman up the middle, and powering through short of the first down marker as the pile ensued by Grant.
It's right at that line. Right.
Down at the 30-yard line.
They're going to give it to him.
Yes, they will. Move the chains, first down for Josiah Heintzman. He also will have Jamal Brumfield and Diego Galvez in the rotation of running backs tonight, with Will Reed operating at the quarterback position. 1st and 10, little pitch play to Heintzman, rolling right, got tripped, still on his feet, and the tackle ensues by Grant for a short gain of 2.
Good effort that time, too, by the Grant defense. Pursuit on that play. Feels a lot like if Franklin's going to go tempo like this, try to get their athletic quarterback in space, that open field tackling is really going to be critical for Grant to try to slow down this Franklin offense.
Thomas Browning, the team leader in tackles, coming in with 40 tonight through 5 games. Moses, Diebel, Clark, and Cantrell Moore also will be contributing on the defensive end for Grant. 2nd and 7, 9:53 remaining in the first quarter. Reed drops back, throws, pass complete to Brucker, and he gets out of bounds for a first down for the Lightning. Saul Brucker Terrific catch in traffic at the slot receiver position. The senior. Chains move, first down for the Lightning.
That's going to be nice if you know, Grant's leaving a little bit of cushion on these Franklin receivers, and I'm sure they have no problem dinking and dunking their way down the field. Couple first downs early for Franklin.
First down for Reed, handoff, Heinzman up the middle. Spin move still on his feet. Brought down past midfield to the 46-yard line. 47-yard line, they'll spot it. 12-yard run for the junior Heinzman. First down again for Franklin, moving up the field rather quickly.
Yeah, and really an aggressive start by Franklin so far. Yeah, throwing the ball, running the ball, you know, keeping Grant, this unpredictable offense, this is going to make it difficult for Grant as they get deeper into the game, knowing where Franklin's going to go.
9 minutes to go, first quarter. Reed rolls to the left on play action, gets past the first down, or the down marker up ahead, rolls out on the play out of bounds for a gain of 3. Quarterback run for Reed.
Sorry. Again, it's both of these teams, as we had mentioned before, they're just both such good teams, and you can definitely see that from just how they're playing. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how this plays out, because I'm not sure if anybody is really sure how this is going to go.
Reed on second down and 7. Pursued and sacked on the play by Benson Diebel for Grant.
And Diebel just forced his way through that offensive line, and Reed had no shot that time, Moto. He was dead to rights half a second into that play.
3rd and 14 for Franklin on their own 49-yard line. They need to get in Grant territory at the 37 to convert. 3rd down. Reed throws it left side. Pass is caught. What a catch by Max Wallace. First down on the play.
Milan Clark it was perfect coverage, and it was just an even better catch that time. Good defense by Clark, but better offense, and frankly, the terrific throw by Will Reed that time too.
1st and 10 for Reed again in the shotgun. Heinzman gets the handoff. Penalty flag comes out though after the snap. This may be false start. We'll see what the official signal here.
I was gone for the first few minutes of the game. I had to step away, but I believe Franklin was pushed back at the very, very beginning, and now has just pushed back and more from where they were when I got back on. Is that correct?
Yes, and they started the drive out honestly a little slow, but what you're going to see here too is how, you know, Franklin, they've even shot themselves in the foot a couple times, and they're still managing to move the ball really efficiently against this general defense.
1st and 15 following the offsides penalty. Reed throws, and the pass is complete and brought down. Nice catch in stride by Cash Landau, the sophomore. One of the players for Grant to tackle him, Thomas Browning, the sophomore, on the play. Second down coming up.
You can tell this Franklin offense, it's a lot of, you know, that 4 to 8 yard range is what they're really looking for. The question's going to be, if they get inside the red zone, Sean, are they going to be able to convert once they get at that point?
Reed throws it, deflected, intercepted by Grant. What a catch and what a pick by Waters. Waters on the sideline, penalty flag out, 2 flags out. Waters will take it the distance for the touchdown, but there are flags out on the field.
This one's coming back, Sean, but the interception is not. Will Reed threw a duck. It was actually kind of left one of his receivers out to dry there, and it was a Franklin receiver that got a hand on it, but it was Waters that was ultimately the one that was able to pick that one off. I believe we're probably going to have, well, now I don't know. It looked for a second like there was no question that interception would stand, but the way that the teams are going back on the field, it looks like Franklin might still have the ball.
It looks like they will. We've got a legal block to the back on the call.
It is Franklin first down.
Yeah. Illegal block to the back on Grant. Franklin dodged a bullet that time. No interception for Will Reed. That is negated.
No, it'll be an interception, Sean.
Oh,
it's just that the touchdown gets wiped off the board.
Okay.
So it was a block in the back. It was tough. The way that Grant's sideline was looking for a second. They all looked so disheveled that they were like, oh, well, are you going to take all this away? But it will be Grant football at the 15, and they stop a Franklin drive that looked destined for the end zone. And now Grant's going to get their first shot at it.
I really have to wonder what that does to like that, just the energy of the team. Of they were able to get it and send it down, and then just it was, nope, that doesn't count. So I really wonder how that's going to play in the rest of the game.
Kellen Siegel at quarterback on first down. Siegel drops back, quick throw, pass complete, left side. Nice little move upfield and brought down on the play. Kamari Owens, the sophomore, made the reception for Grant. Second down for the Generals.
And what's interesting, Moto, is that you can see that the size of the Grant receivers, they're giving up a lot of size versus, say, the Franklin receivers. But the difference is clearly the speed is on Grant's side.
And personally, from experience, like just kind of playing certain games, I'm not the fastest, but I'm also not super tall or athletic. But I've had other people where they're super athletic, and I've been playing against them, and I just go flying right past them. So that definitely has an effect.
Grant on the carry on second down, brought down for a first down for the Generals, which was 2nd and 2, moving it up for a 3-yard run. First down at the 26-yard line.
And Moto had it, I thought, exactly right, which is, how does, obviously Grant, how do they respond to the touchdown being taken off the board, but how does Franklin respond to the turnover? Really an emotional play for both teams here. So, I think at this point, you're still early in this game, Sean, but certainly both of these teams going to have to try to settle down and make sure, shake off what could have been a terrific play on both sides.
Siegel on 1st and 10, throws pass complete, tackled immediately by Franklin. Making the reception is Charles Manigo for Grant, the junior. Second down coming up for the Generals.
And Grant coming into this game, 15th in the state, but only +6 on the season, Sean, which I found very fascinating. 3 teams in the league have scored more points than Grant, so they're not a very, certainly not the best offense in the PIL, but we're going to be able to see if they can keep this thing close. You can tell defensively and with this athleticism, that's what's going to keep it close.
Hand off to the back, and Franklin just swarmed him on the play. That was Will Davis for Franklin on the stop. Kamari Owens on the carry for Grant. Loss of 1 down to the 30-yard line. That will bring up 3rd down for Grant. 4:45 left in the first quarter.
And Will Davis is a big boy. And that's going to be a tough spot to run the ball, inside against both Davis and Redlock, because that interior defensive line for Franklin is showing that potentially is the strength of this defense.
3rd down, throw, pass complete, up on the far side, and Franklin stops him on the receiver screen. Malone Clark for Grant, nowhere to go but down. 4th down, and Grant will be forced to punt.
And it looks like, too, there, Malone Clark is kind of hobbling his way over to the sideline, too. So
it looked right when I'm kind of got a weird angle right here, but it looked when I think he got the ball, did he? Or it looked like he tripped or something happened, and it looked like he messed something up.
Yeah, maybe rolled his ankle or tweaked his knee or something there. But, yeah, definitely hobbled off to the sideline.
Siegel back to punt for Grant from the 10-yard line. On their own 10-yard line at that. Siegel boots it to sky punt. Wallace will not elect to return it, and the ball will bounce down around the 45-yard line. 3:25 left in the first quarter. No score from Franklin. And Grant in this matchup determining who will become potentially becoming PIL state champion. Franklin has not won it since '96. Grant trying to win their 4th consecutive PIL title.
And that punt, Sean, that's a tough break for Grant, because it was lots of hang time, but didn't even get it outside the 50, and then a bad bounce, and all of a sudden Franklin basically with the ball where they turned it over on the last possession.
Jamal Brumfield in at running back. He had a terrific game 2 weeks ago. Rushed for 4 touchdowns. Reed throws. Pass is caught by Wallace on the left side. Still on his feet and brought down, tripped inside the 35-yard line.
And it looked like Wallace, I don't know if you noticed this too, but it looked like when he caught it, his knee was either down or awfully close to the turf. And for a second, it almost looked like he kind of assumed he was going to be
Whistled for
whistled
being down.
Yeah, but look, play the whistle, and instead of a gain of 2, it was a gain of 8.
2nd and 2 for Franklin. Grant showing blitz flag comes out.
Yeah, it did almost look like he was like, my angle almost looked like he jumped and like celebrated for it, but I'm not sure if that was just like his knee was really close and he tried to jump up. I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think he kind of, I think at that point, you know, as Franklin continues their march backwards, that's what, 3 false start penalties already on the Lightning, but you know, it feels like Franklin is kind of a classic 3 steps forward, 2 steps back type thing is what they've been, at least on these 2 offensive series, that's really what they faced.
Jamal Brumfield in at slot receiver now. All by himself is Reed on 1st down. Following the false start penalty, pass is complete down to Ethan Amon, also playing the slot receiver position. Positive yardage on the reception on 2nd and 7. That will bring up 3rd down for Franklin. Clock continues to run, 2:15 left in the first quarter. Scoreless early from Franklin High School.
What's going to make this tough is, you know, players like Jeremiah Fuller, who is in coverage there. They have these kind of undersized linebackers, and Franklin, these slot guys, are really more tight ends.
Brumfield gets the handoff. 1st down and still on his feet and brought down to the 25. Jamal Brumfield, one of the senior running backs for the Lightning, picks up a big gain on the play and a 1st down for Franklin. He is what I call the Jerome Bettis of running backs because of his size and his ability to truck through defenders with ease.
It's a great comparison, you know, kind of the Marshawn Lynch type, the Jerome Bettis type for sure. A big guy, tough to get on the ground, but certainly I think the thing that I've been impressed by so far, Sean, is just how quick he's been inside the tackles.
We have a timeout called by Grant. We'll step aside with 1:39 to play in the first. Scoreless through the first between Franklin and Grant on KBPS. 30, yes. Yes.
Good.
We're good. Thank you.
Are you sure that, is it this? It's
1:39 left in the first quarter. No score from Franklin early, as Franklin with possession on their 2nd drive of the game.
I think Grant just had to call a timeout and take a breather there because they've just really, it's not that Franklin hasn't been moving the ball, it's just the turnover, and then Franklin is lucky though to have this game tied.
Absolutely. Hand off to the back and rolling to the edge and out of bounds. Francisco Soriano on the play for the Lightning. Terrific run in stride. 1st and goal for the Lightning.
Soriano, who's given up about 8 inches to every other Franklin receiver. He almost kind of got hidden behind that offensive line on that sweet play there.
Yes.
Really nice play design, though, to take advantage of a guy that size and certainly, you know, earn Franklin a 1st down.
1st down from the 15-yard line. Brumfield, loose ball, recovered by Reed. No, he lost it. Picked up by the Generals. It's still muffed out on the field and finally dug out. Oh, my goodness. Grant ball flag out on the field as well.
Did you see what happened there?
Well, it was a missed snap, and then Grant got the ball, but now it's definitely general football, and there's a flag on the field too. Look, Sean, you and I have done quite a few games together, and this is a goofy quarter. This is up there.
Absolutely.
Oh, sideline warning is what they were calling for Grant.
Okay.
So, the excitement level is about a 10. And you know what? It wasn't a great snap, but it didn't feel like it should have been a turnover, but
the end result it is.
Here we are. Grant, 2 takeaways. How often do you lose the takeaway battle and win games? That's going to be the question for Franklin right now.
Exactly. 1st and 10. Siegel will hand it off up the middle and brought down by the Lightning D. Maybe a minimal gain of 2 on the run for Owens, or for Grant.
Diego Galvez was on the tackle there, and you know, if you're this Franklin defense, I feel like at this point it's as much mental as it is physical. Now having to face 2 turnovers, you probably are thinking the way our offense is moving the ball, we should be up 2 touchdowns, and instead we had a near pick 6 taken off the board, and Grant probably should have had a scoop and score. So both these teams have every right to say there should be up 2 touchdowns right now.
2nd down and 8, 43 seconds to go in the quarter. Siegel will hand off again to the back, rolling left. Got an opening, 1st down, and brought down to the 41-yard line. Great run in stride by Jaden Moses, listed as a tight end, but also can play the running back as well. 1st down for Grant, 30 seconds remaining in the 1st quarter in a scoreless game.
And Moto, that time, best play by the offensive line. Plenty of room for Moses to get out of that backfield and gain the 1st down.
Owens in the backfield now with Siegel operating at the quarterback. 15 seconds left for the quarter. Siegel in the shotgun. Siegel, quick throw on the screen. Pass complete to Clark. Clark gets away a little bit but couldn't get much. About a 3-yard run. Nice tackle made by Marcel for the Lightning. And that will take us to the end of the 1st quarter from Franklin. We are scoreless through 1. 2nd quarter next on KDPS. Thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. 30 seconds.
Whatever you say.
10 away. Second quarter about to begin from Franklin. Scoreless through the 1st quarter with Franklin and Grant. Grant's playing at their own pace, guys. Defense keeping Franklin off the board thus far. And Grant will have the game going left to right, right to left for the Lightning, as the officials are talking with both teams to make sure that they are aligned out on the field.
Sean, what they're doing is waiting for the end of the TV timeout of that incredible KBPS on YouTube broadcast. So we have to just make sure, you know, that that we get that Geico commercial in, that Home Depot commercial in, and we can be back ready for play.
There you go.
And give away all the free T-shirts too. Apparently they're lagging behind on that too.
A little bit, but I think they're on top of it right now.
T-shirt cannon, yeah!
Jacob. 2nd and 8 as we resume play. Siegel in the shotgun. He will hand it off to Owens. Right side gets tripped and brought down. Nice tackle by the middle linebacker, Josiah Heintzman, on the play. 3rd down.
There was a few times where the person who was with the guy who was operating the T-shirt cannon started like pointing up worryingly close to the press box. I'm like, oh, that's really worrying. Please don't hit us.
Well, look. Can we get an ice pack up here too, please, Sean? Maybe a little gauze in case we have an injury. That would be terrific.
Yeah.
Can you make a call, please?
I'll defend you both.
This is dangerous up here.
Yeah, this is precarious territory.
Yeah,
here. 3rd and 9 for Siegel. And we have Moses out in the backfield with him in the shotgun. Siegel drops back to pass, looks left, gets away from traffic. Siegel now throws it left side, complete, and a touchdown for Grant on the reception. For Waters. Waters, his first TD of the game, and the Generals strike first.
Every time I see a team get the first touchdown of the game, it always makes me wonder how the other team reacts, how people who are on the field are, what they're thinking when something like that happens, and they know their advantage that they had at the beginning of the game is now gone, and now they really have to fight.
Andrew Gray on for the extra point attempt. It's up and good. Grant draws first blood. 7-0 lead over Franklin. 11:05 left in the second quarter on KBPS.
Well, look, Sean, I think, as Moto was saying, that it's just a tough, if you're Franklin now, the question becomes, how do you respond? And what an odd start to this game, too, I have to say. And by the way, a terrific play by Siegel, being able to scramble out, perfect throw, good separation that time as well. But, ultimately right now, if you were to look at the stat sheet, Franklin is dominating this football game. But if you look on the scoreboard, Grant is the one that very easily could have 3 touchdowns. So, if you're Franklin, you really got to settle down, focus on not turning the ball over, and that's, if they do that, they're going to be just fine here as we move through this game.
Max Wallace on the kickoff return, brought down to the 20, and Franklin back on the offensive end of the field, 1st and 10.
It really, again, it's that mindset of, I wonder, with that advantage being gone, it's you really have to fight now to be able to keep going forward. And even though statistically, I believe Franklin, are they a higher pointing team?
Yes.
Even that, it's you really got to wonder whether Franklin was coming in here like, oh, we're the best, we got these numbers on our side, but Grant was just like, we can't let that happen.
Max Miller on the tackle for, Jalen Hill was on the tackle for Grant on the play defensively. It will be a 2nd down for Franklin, following the handoff from Will Reed. Backfield is Heintzman, who received the handoff last possession. Throw over the middle, almost picked off, incomplete. Intended for one of the receivers, but Grant Clark was back defensively. Brucker, the intended receiver on the play for the Lightning.
I've only actually been at Benson, which is the school that operates KBPS, for 3-4 weeks now, and that's how long I've been doing sportscasting. So it's been really interesting getting this complete view change from
sure.
From a normal audience member.
Reed on 3rd and long. He is sacked. Jalen Hill, the left end, came out to get him. Big pass rush coming out in front of Reed. Takes the sack, 4th and long. Franklin is forced to punt.
And Hill is fired up after that one. And what a big sack, too. You had to think, Franklin had, they had the couple turnovers, and, Will Reed, the way he was in the pocket, it's like, all right, guys, just settle down. Let's try to move this ball down the field. And instead, it's Grant with the best defensive stop of the night. So certainly a really impressive performance by that Grant defense.
Amon in punt formation. He will have a low punt. Waters on the punt return, gets it from the 48. Waters gets away from traffic twice. He is still on his feet, down the sideline. Waters pushed out inside the 15. Wow, what an effort on the punt return.
Freakish athlete. What a return.
He turned up the afterburners on that one.
Well, and
almost for the score.
Just his wiggle in the middle of the field. You know, just being able to. He made 4 guys miss, turned on the jets, and now what very well could have been, you know, Grant with the ball at midfield. Waters, who's not only the touchdown scorer, but also the star in special teams, has the ball all the way down at the Franklin 15.
1st and 10, 9:16 remaining in the first half. Grant up 7-0. Siegel in the shotgun as Owens is in the backfield. Play action, Siegel throws, middle, down to the end zone, touchdown Grant. Dakota Hoffert scores it from 15 yards out.
You know, again, it's when you get that first, I don't want to say point, but first touchdown of a game, and the other team is just like, okay, great, we got to get this back, and then they try and they get a little bit, and then they just get sent all the way back, and then they get another touchdown against them. You really got to wonder what those players on the field are thinking and what the coaches on the sidelines are thinking, because motivation is one of the things that is really going to win one of these games.
Absolutely. 14-0 lead. Grant over Franklin. We'll be back in 30 seconds on KBPS. Thank you. We missed you on the last break there. Yeah.
We'll make sure to be more clear
Sure.
on the next one. No, that might have been.
Okay.
Yeah, that probably was it.
All good.
Okay. 9:10 left, first half, as Grant up 14-0 on the road, looking for their 4th consecutive victory this season, all against PIL teams.
Look, Sean, this is a critical possession for Franklin. They came out looking really good, had the turnover, looked good again, had great field position, had the turnover. Now Grant another stop, they're up 2 touchdowns, and this is going to be a mental drive for Franklin more than anything.
Wallace dropped the return, but able to gather it and brought down to the 25-yard line, and that is where Reed will head back on the field. An interception for him tonight and a fumble in the first half. He is trying to find any kind of breathing room to rectify those early turnovers.
And I think, you know, one of the things that I have really noticed in this game, Sean, is we've done many games, PIL games here on KBPS together. This is as physical a football game as I can remember. Just these defensive lines are big. Special teams, you know, there's been a lot of action as well. So, you know, it feels like, you know, right now Franklin was the more physical team, and then on that last touchdown drive, Grant was able to reassert themselves, and it's really been all Grant since then.
Timeout, Franklin. 9:02 left, first half. 14-0. Grant lead over the Lightning on KBPS. Okay.
It's unacceptable, Scott.
A reminder, the Kona Ice Truck is
Oh, yeah, right?
parked outside, just out in front of where the concession stand is. Kona
Okay.
Ice available now.
.902 left, second quarter. Grant in command, 14-0, shutting out the Lightning so far in the game. Last year, these two teams met. Grant won in a blowout, 70-7 over the Lightning. That's the most points Grant has scored against Grant in school history. It is 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line, and on the play, nice catch downfield, flag out on the field as well.
I don't know if that's offsides or maybe like an illegal shift. There's flags on both sides of the field, so
we have
no
a false start on the offense.
False start indicated against Franklin.
So they'll replay the down first
well,
and 15.
I'm kind of confused why they even let him. Maybe it was more like an illegal formation or something like that, which is why they let the play go. Because normally the false start is a dead ball penalty, but
Yeah.
in any case, a big play by Franklin negated again by a penalty. So
Yeah.
penalties and turnovers continue to be the story for Franklin, but as we've seen so far, Will Reed and this Franklin offense certainly have the ability to get things rolling.
Generals had to overcome 4 turnovers and 13 penalties themselves last week. Reed on first down throws it complete downfield to Amon, and out of bounds. First down, Franklin.
You really got to wonder whether that the thing where they dropped the ball and then it just kept rolling and rolling, and it looked like a cartoon with how it just people would go and couldn't grab it. You really got to wonder, because that was Franklin's ball and they lost it, correct? You got to wonder if that kind of was like, oh, come on, why?
Right.
Whether that affected them enough that Grant now has 2 touchdowns and a extra point, I believe, or 2 extra points, and whether that's just affecting them.
So we have an ineligible receiver downfield. I could not find the flag in real time.
I didn't even notice that there was a flag.
Yeah, there was a flag. The referee
Franklin
came
continues
out.
to go backwards.
Yeah, they continue to go back in a bad way.
And really what it was, though, it was Reed being able to escape the pocket and just held on the ball longer than the offensive line was expecting.
Wallace pass complete from Reed down at the 20 for a gain of 5 on the play. We'll bring up second down.
Sean, this clock is it's obviously moving along here, but it just Franklin they continue to it's not like the offense isn't efficient. They just keep having the penalties and the turnovers, and that has continued on every drive, including this one.
Reed blitz coming this time. Screen pass complete to Brumfield. Brumfield gets away from one tackler. Still on his feet. Flag comes out as well. Brumfield gets the first down, but this may be coming back as well. We'll have to wait on the referee's call here.
And a perfect play call, too. Boy, I have a feeling that's going to go against Franklin. Maybe a hold in the middle of the field. But they had that thing dialed up. Oh, a block in the back on Franklin, indicating a personal foul. So is that 15? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
It was 2nd and 14 for Franklin's 21-yard line.
I think they backed him up 15 yards from that spot of the foul. So,
yeah.
Boy, another tough break by Franklin. A perfect play call. Brumfield got that first down, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're back inside their own 20 again.
Is this the 3rd consecutive penalty
this
drive? Yeah,
it
has
is.
to be against Franklin. And all of the momentum Franklin is trying to pull is not working yet, and I emphasize that strongly. It is now 2nd and 17 from the 17-yard line for Will Reed, all by himself in the shotgun. Grant showing blitz. Reed drops back, looks right, throws, pass caught on the far side down at the 30.
I'm sure that just Grant is just feeling really good with how this is all going, with just Franklin keeps getting pushed back. I'm not sure how they feel about them getting pushed back because of penalties and stuff, and I wonder if Grant is like, I want to win off of the actual game and not just a referee.
Well, I think right now they're probably concerned that can they stop Franklin if it weren't for Franklin stopping themselves.
Screen pass on 3rd down, caught by Brumfield. Truck stick alert, and gets the first down out of it. Holy mackerel. Waters on the tackle for Grant.
And Waters was the one that just got trampled by Brumfield. And you know what? Good on Jamal Jones for saying, here's the deal. We're going to get the ball. I don't care if it's 3rd down. We're getting the ball to Brumfield and giving him open space to run. And that's exactly what finally got Franklin arguably the longest drive ever across that first down marker.
Despite 3 consecutive penalties so far. It's Reed on 1st and 10, rolling left, pressure, gets away from 1, 2, lost the ball! Out of bounds, Grant claiming they have it.
They're going to discuss. It looked like he might have been out of bounds. Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to call.
So Franklin will maintain possession as Grant could not secure that football in bounds.
And Reed got away with one there. That's where you throw the ball away, but instead trying to make some magic happen and nearly lost the ball again.
A 3-yard play for Franklin nonetheless. 2nd and 7, 6:12 left first half. Ball at the 40 for the Lightning, going right to left.
And just as you said, I'm really wondering whether Grant is worried if the fact that the referees weren't there, whether they would be able to stop Franklin, or really interesting to see how this game would play out if some of these calls were not being made.
Peterson on the reception for Franklin.
Lost a yard.
Lost a yard on the play. Thank you, Sam. 3rd and 8 from the 39-yard line. Big opportunity for Franklin to try to convert yet another 3rd down here. Reed drops back, flag comes out. Pass is dropped, but flag comes out nonetheless to stop play.
I didn't see which one of those receivers it was on, but they had trips on the near side and it was one of those kind of rock back in your stance before the ball snapped, and that's ultimately what caused the 4th or 5th penalty on this drive.
False start on Franklin.
At this rate, maybe Franklin will make it to midfield by halftime. We'll see.
Well,
but
see.
Maybe, just maybe, they'll make it to midfield.
3rd and 13 from Franklin's own 34-yard line. As Reed once again in the shotgun. 5:34 left. Reed looks right. Pressure comes. Gets away from traffic. And he gets tackled inside the 42. Positive yardage for Will Reed. Not enough for the first. And Franklin has a decision to make if they go for it here or punt. You would think they have to go for it.
I was going to say, I would think they would have to punt being this far on their side. I think that's what they're going to do. Maybe a little pooch punt action. Nope, they're going to punt it away, Sean.
Waters back on the punt.
And the scary part is Waters, who's been the most dynamic player on the field, is the one that you have to punt the ball to. I'm keeping it away from Waters if I can.
Amon on the punt for Franklin. Amon gets the kick. Line drives it to the right, out of bounds, around the 32. And Grant will head back out on the offensive end of the field, looking to extend their lead.
This is just such an interesting game with it going one way and then another, and especially starting with the fact that Franklin statistically was better than Grant, but just Grant, in my opinion, it kind of feels like Grant is just kind of holding on against some of these calls that are being made, and Franklin is just getting it's almost like Grant's just ended up grabbing the bull's horn and is getting dragged, and Franklin got hit.
You're right.
4:36 left first half. Siegel back on the offensive end. Grant is really taking this bend, don't break approach seriously. Pass over the head, incomplete, intended for Moses, the tight end. Outstretched his hand, couldn't haul it through. 2nd down.
And that was another, both of these coaches, offensive coordinators, have called screen passes at the right time. And in one case, for Franklin, negated by a penalty, and in this case, just thrown just over Moses' head. But in both cases, these two teams have taken advantage of extremely aggressive defensive lines. We talked about how physical those D linemen have been thus far, and both teams trying to take advantage, but neither one has been able to thus far in the first half.
2nd and 10 from the 35-yard line. Siegel in the shotgun. Siegel will hand it off to the back up the middle before being brought down to the 41. Good effort, though, by Moses that time for Grant.
Again, this is just such a I know I keep repeating it, but Sam, like you had mentioned earlier, this is just such a goofy first start of the game with the first half, with the ball just getting dropped and just rolling like a cartoon, and Franklin just keeps getting pushed back with these calls.
It is 3rd and 4, pass complete at the first down marker. They'll give it to him. Forward progress, nice catch downfield on the far side. Moses on the reception for Grant yet again, and that should move this change. Referee pointing first down, and does.
Moto, you said, just 2 possessions ago, or this earlier even in this possession, how, really it's been Franklin themselves that's kept Grant up 2 touchdowns, but I think really what I've noticed, especially over the last, half a quarter, is, especially offensively for Grant, it really does feel like they've found their groove a little bit. They do have the 2 touchdown lead, and certainly Franklin has made some mistakes, but Grant has definitely taken advantage and is settling in.
I can't.
It is on the handoff. Moses gains 13 on the run. First down for Grant as they continue to move upfield.
I can't agree more, and while I think it's a combination of the two, with Grant being a good team, and I think both Franklin and Grant are great teams, but it's really just it's a combination of the 2 factors that it's a good team, and this other team is kind of shooting themselves in the foot. With especially Grant kind of finding that groove, and what's the best way to put this? Missing their foot.
Yeah, Owens on the ball carrier on 1st and 10, or on the run, getting tackled down for a gain of 2, maybe 3 yards. Second down coming up for Grant as they continue to add on to the scoring punch. Up 14-0, 2:30 left in the first half. They gave him 4.
And right now, Sean, you're going to really have to see this Grant offense. I think they have 2 timeouts.
Yep.
They've got plenty of time here with the 2 minutes left. I think really what they're probably focused on is making sure that Franklin doesn't get the ball back and try to cut into this 2-touchdown lead.
If Franklin comes back, they need to pressure Siegel as much as possible. Handoff again to Owens, and he's tackled for a short gain of 2. On the tackle, Diego Galvez for Franklin on the stop. 3rd down for the Generals.
And finally, Franklin gets a 3rd down opportunity against Grant. Seeing it looks too like this defensive lineman, these defensive linemen for Franklin, hands on the hips, looking a little tired, looking like maybe this Grant offensive line is starting to wear them down a little bit here towards the end of this first half.
3rd and 4, 90 seconds to play until halftime. Siegel in the shotgun. He will hand it off to Owens up the left side. He is getting the first down, and does. Near the marker. Franklin could not stop him on the run.
Finishing kind of what I said earlier, with me saying with Grant missing their foot, what I mean by that is with Franklin shooting themselves in the foot, Grant is missing their foot and is able to keep walking. I know my metaphors are.
It was a terrific metaphor. It really was.
Understandable.
It was phenomenal.
Timeout. Grant will step aside. 1:04 left first half. 14-0 Generals lead over Franklin on KBPS. Thank you.
Move. Didn't mean to scare you, buddy. Be sure to mention the video stream. We double checked it. Everything looks great. Yes. Rock and roll, guys.
I'll mention it when we come back live.
Thank you.
Thank you. .104 left in the first half. Grant in the lead, 14-0. Sean Philipsen, Sam Tung, and Moto, thanks for letting us be a part of your evening on the radio on KBPS, on the radio dial AM 1450. And we have our YouTube channel on AM 1450 KBPS, where this game is in video form as well.
And Sean, let me just say,
yeah,
it's not just in video form. the Benson crew came out to work today.
Yes, they did.
That stream looks pro, and I am impressed.
4th and 1, loose ball, Siegel grabbed it. He is still being pursued now, throws it incomplete, intended for Moses. Turnover on downs, no flag. Franklin has a shot to get a score with 57 seconds left in the second.
Man, and Siegel, he had it, and it was one of those, you know, when you look away before you bring the ball all the way in, that's exactly what happened with that snap. It was almost like he was trying to roll out of the pocket and just left the ball there. And very nearly got the first down anyways, but Franklin, they have 2 timeouts, less than a minute left, but certainly an opportunity to get into some field goal range here, try to get some points on the board before the end of the half.
Jamal Jones, the first-year head coach for Franklin, as well as Alex Melson in his first year for Grant, also a Grant alum, won PIL Defensive Player of the Year back in '07, his senior campaign. We have an official stoppage out on the field at this time. 57 seconds left in the second, 14-0 Grant in the lead.
Are they trying to maybe figure out the clock, or?
No one has indicated, the referees rather.
They're saying it's a first down for Franklin, which we knew.
Correct.
So I'm a little, I think they're trying to maybe make sure that they have the spot of the ball correct. That's kind of what it looked like. So it looks like we're ready to go.
All right. Reed in the shotgun on first down. 2 timeouts left for Franklin. Reed rolling to the right. And he throws it incomplete on the far side. Intended for Brucker.
You really got to wonder, like you had mentioned a little bit ago, the Franklin just has their hands on their hips and they're just they look tired. So I'm interested to see if the first part of the game just kind of immediately just hit them really hard and kind of burned them out. And it'll be really interesting to see whether the second half, if they come back with a vengeance or what's going to happen.
Throw over the middle, and it's intercepted on the play by Waters. Waters on the far side, inside the 20, out of bounds. Oh, he's in. Did he get in?
They're going to call him out of bounds at the 10.
Okay.
Waters has been everywhere. 2 picks, 2
Yes.
near pick sixes. The best play on special teams thus far. And, boy, see, what Franklin couldn't do is force a throw, and that's exactly what they did. And now all of a sudden, Grant, who went for it on 4th down, obviously didn't get it. You get the ball. Now Franklin is thinking like, hey, maybe we can salvage some points. Now Grant with the timeout, 34 seconds left, has goal to go.
Now Franklin has to
They need to stop.
Yeah, they need to stop
They need to
defensively.
stop.
It's going to be 4-down territory at this rate in the red zone. Franklin needs to bring the house in a heartbeat. First down and goal from the 10-yard line for the Generals. Siegel in the shotgun, pump fakes, throws, incomplete pass in the end zone. Intended for Malone Clark for Grant. And Max Wallace defensively defended the pass beautifully for Franklin. Second and goal.
That was awfully close to interference, though. It looked like Wallace maybe got there a split second early, but, you know, that bang-bang play there was, you know, give credit to Wallace for being able to get that one, knock that one away. And again, 29 seconds left. They still do have the timeout, so, you know, it's still an opportunity for Grant here.
Owens in the backfield on second and goal. Siegel, play action, rolling right, still being pursued. He will keep it himself. Out of bounds, no score.
It'll be interesting to see with the 20 seconds we have left on the clock, which is currently stopped, but it'll be interesting to see if Franklin can just keep them out for 20 seconds and just hold them there until halftime.
Well, this is going to be the one, too, and smart play that time by Siegel to get out of bounds, stop the clock. So it's going to be a big question here, Sean. 20 seconds. I mean, you get that throw to the end zone, and then they may have to have another decision to make, although obviously Grant would like to just punch this one in the end zone and call it good.
Moses is at running back On 3rd and goal from the 2, Siegel hands it off to Moses, fighting into the end zone. He is denied. And now Grant may have to take a timeout. 10 seconds left.
They're going to bring it down to probably 3 seconds and take that timeout.
And they will do exactly that, Sam. 4 seconds to go, timeout, Generals.
And, you know, for Grant, really what it comes down to was that Franklin was smart knowing that Grant had the timeout, could take the timeout, so everything in the playbook was available. So smart heads-up play by that defensive line for Franklin to know they may run the ball here. And that's exactly what happened, and ended up just, you know, basically no gain is what it looks like. And so Grant now a decision to make. You kick the, you know, it's in theory a chip shot, but it's also kind of a goofy angle on the near side of the field. And then also the question becomes, you're on the road against the highest scoring offense in the league. Do you try to get that touchdown now, go up 3 touchdowns? So honestly, a really big decision here, and it looks like Grant's going to go for it on 4th down.
They are going to go for it. If they fail on 4th down, Franklin will have the ball depending on the spot.
Well, this is the last play of the half.
Yeah.
No question. 4 seconds left. This is the last play of the half.
4 seconds left. 14-0 lead. Generals, 4th and goal from the 2. Is Moses in the backfield? Or Owens, rather. Siegel will run it himself to the end zone. Touchdown, Generals. Why not run it in for Siegel, his first rushing score of the game?
You know, that touchdown there, again, it was no doubt whether that was going to be the last play of that half, but it was really interesting to see just like, we're getting that decision, and we're just going to go for it, and we know we have an option, and let's just go for it and see if we can get it.
Well, and look, it obviously paid off here, Sean, as they look at this extra point here to as if there weren't enough penalties in this first half. But I do think it was a gutsy play by Melson and his Generals to make that call. But frankly, that's probably the call I would have made too, knowing that Franklin has been able to move the ball on offense. They just it's not their inability to move the ball, it's their inability it's just the penalties. That's just really what they struggled with in this game. So ultimately, I think the right call by Grant. And this is now, after that extra point, a 3-touchdown lead for Grant headed into halftime. This is going to be a tall order for Franklin. But look, if there's any team in the league that can come back from a 3-touchdown deficit, it's going to be the Lightning.
We'll see what happens. Halftime from Franklin. Grant shutting out Franklin at halftime, 21-0. We'll be back on KBPS. 3 minutes, and then we'll do a legal. Thank you.
Are you on break?
Yeah, we're on break.
Eduardo is here. Is there any way he could jump on for a couple minutes during halftime? Are you going to do a quick halftime show?
You want me to jump on? Do you want to have him take my spot?
He's only going to be able to do probably the halftime show for a couple of minutes, and then he's going to head out.
I can hop on.
Okay.
Just for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Moto?
And then once we get back,
Eduardo.
I'll hop back on.
Sean and Sam Eduardo.
Hey, nice to meet you.
One of my excellent sophomore students who had the class sophomore year last year and is a junior this year. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for jumping on. Eduardo, this is Sam and Sean. Yeah, help yourself. If you need a snack, I always bring snacks and
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. I think what happened, is that what they did, or was it just that it, yeah, because I think what might have ended up happening is just that it got, like, the contrast between the field and the sky just kind of looked weird, and now that the sun's down, it looks a lot better, so. Whatever they did, though, it does look good. I need to pull it up on my phone.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
'For a school such as Franklin to come in tonight averaging 43 points per game while their defense is allowing 8 points per game, Franklin is shut out in the first half of play. Sean Philipsen, Sam Tung, and fellow junior student Eduardo for our KBPS halftime show. Grant leading Franklin 21-0. Sam, your first half thoughts?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it just came down to the penalties and the turnovers for Franklin. It was just mistake after mistake, and they had offensively they had no problem moving the ball. It was just every time they had a big plays on third down, they would get on Grant's side of the field, and every time they did so, it was just a mistake after mistake. And Eduardo, what I noticed too is that not only was Franklin making all these mistakes, but it really felt like Grant was taking advantage on the other side.
Yeah, the moment they saw a free opening, they took it, and that led to the touchdowns they got.
Absolutely. At the end of the first quarter, it was scoreless. Second quarter, Grant really turned it up, 21 in a row in the second quarter to lead Franklin. Looking at the first half numbers, Will Reed has thrown 2 interceptions and a fumble lost in the half for Grant. Kellen Siegel has passed for a touchdown tonight and rushed for one as the time expired, finding Marshawn Waters in the second quarter primarily with the score.
And I think one of the things too that we really need to point out is, Grant certainly didn't win the time of possession battle, but I think the thing that became, at least for me, the part that really stood out, and Eduardo, I don't know if you noticed this either, but between Marshawn Waters and some of these other slot receivers, it really felt like Grant's athleticism, even though they're playing against a more physical, bigger Franklin side, it was really Grant's athleticism that was able to take over in that second quarter.
Yeah, what I really noticed was Marshawn Waters, his speed, he's really fast. Basically got him a lot of power on their side.
And look, the 2 turnovers too, 2 interceptions, and almost, he had the pick 6 that got called back for a penalty,
Yep.
and another pick 6 that by the edge of his shoe just stepped out of bounds. So, so far Marshawn Waters has been the guy, and obviously that big punt return in the first quarter as well that really flipped the field for Grant. So, ultimately, you're absolutely right. It's been that speed that's really, and I think really what we're also noticing here too, Sean, is that speed and athleticism ultimately is really wearing down that Grant defensive line. You could tell at the end of that first half that Grant defensive line, the Franklin defensive line was just struggling to try to get pressure, and ultimately that was probably part of what went into Coach Melson's decision at the end of that half and saying, look, we're winning the battle in the trenches. We've got 4th and 1 at the goal line. This is where we're not going to put 3 on the board. We're going to try to put 7.
Yeah, Grant really aggressive early on in the first half of tonight's game. Next week, as we go through our schedule, we will be at Jefferson. Jefferson hosting the Franklin Lightning, 7 p.m. kickoff around 6:55 for our pregame show. We'll have the rest of our schedule up on our website, kbps.am. We will not have a web stream of next week's game But we will have it, of course, on the airwaves, KBPS on the radio, AM 1450, and on the web, kbps.am. This has been the 88th meeting, or this is the 88th meeting between these two schools all time. Going through for historical perspectives, Grant all time 60 wins, 23 losses, and 4 ties. Grant is trying to, if they win out the rest of the year against PIL schools, they will have won their 4th consecutive PIL championship, either by co-champions or have won it outright, not counting the shortened condensed fall 2020 campaign. Shutouts is still intact here. Grant's biggest shutout against Franklin back in 2018, a 63-0 win in that game. And Franklin was back in 93 where they had 38-0, but that won't happen tonight. Grant has scored, coming in again, 43 points per game against PIL schools, mind you, 41 points per game among all schools.
And I think the thing that I've been most fascinated by is, what'd you say the score was last year? 70-7?
70-7.
Grant, I mean, what a shocking difference a year makes, because Franklin absolutely deserves to be on the same field as Grant in this game. And I don't think, and Eduardo, I'd be kind of curious your thoughts on this too, because it really doesn't feel like Grant has been 3 touchdowns better today. It just feels like they've taken advantage of a lot of these mistakes that the Lightning have had so far.
Yeah, it feels like they've been at an even point, and just the moment they get a free point, they just take it.
Halftime show continues from Franklin. We'll take a break. 21-0 lead. Grant over the Lightning. Back in a moment on KBPS. 3 minutes.
Are we going to do keys to the second half, or?
Yeah, we'll. Oh, darn. Yes, we'll do keys in the second half.
All right.
And then we'll go through. And then we'll go through score updates.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do another. We'll do a quick break, and then I'll do a quick clip, and then just let you do your thing. Sound good?
Might not be possible. Yeah.
Right now? Okay. Yeah, you too, ma'am.
Glad to be back.
All right, ma'am.
What'd I miss?
Not a whole lot.
Thank you. TBD.
We'll get all the stands we can get.
Thank you.
We need that fan blowing in here.
There you go. Or have AC in here. For
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, this game has been fun with the 3 of us.
Enjoyed it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Just remember, well, in the halftime show, you can Do you have any scores?
Yeah.
Scores around the PIL.
Thank you. Back at Franklin High School. Grant Generals lead the Lightning 21-0 at halftime. Sean Philipsen, Sam Tung, and Moto rejoining us. Gentlemen, real quick, second half keys for both Grant and Franklin. Moto, we'll start with you first.
This game has just been, it's been really weird. I think that's the best way to put it. And I mean, Sean, you said the same thing. It was, it's weird how the beginning of the game acted, and it was just nobody seemed like they were really, what's the word, like in the mood yet. So I think it took a little bit, but Grant kind of got into that groove and has just gotten that nice finish.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, you know, you're right that it was a little uncomfortable at the beginning. You know, both teams, I mean, surely a little jittery because this is such an important game for both these teams, and frankly, more than likely is whoever wins this game is going to be the league champ. So, but I think the difference, and you said it, Moto, was Grant was the team ultimately that was able to settle in a little quicker than Franklin was. And I think that, you know, if you think, Sean, about keys to the second half, really it's going to come down to, I think the entire half is all about, can Franklin settle in and start moving the ball the way that they have been able to and shown the way that they've been able to? Or are they going to, you know, continue to turn the ball over, continue to make those mistakes? And, you know, the reality is they're down these 3 touchdowns. We know that they can score a lot of points, but look, Grant has looked much better on offense. And I think if this had been a 14-0 game and Grant didn't score that touchdown at the end, I think this is a completely different conversation. But the fact that Grant has that 3-touchdown lead, the fact that they're going to get the ball to start the second half, you know, there's a lot of things right now that Franklin's going to have to overcome. So, you know, if you ask about these keys, Sean, to me, really it's going to be what type of sense of urgency can Franklin have, and how can they make sure that, you know, they stop the penalties, they stop the negative plays, they stop the turnovers, because we know that they can move the ball, we know that they can score. It's just going to be a matter of, can they string a couple of those possessions together rather than, you know, allowing Grant to sort of take advantage of some of these mistakes.
Let's get to your score updates around the PIL right now. Lincoln at Roosevelt, homecoming night for the Rough Riders. Lincoln 48 wins, 46 losses, and 3 ties. The 98th meeting all time between these two schools. Lincoln coming in losing 3 out of 4 to Roosevelt in recent matchups. Looking to win in consecutive seasons is Roosevelt for the first time since 2018 and 19. And Roosevelt last win against Lincoln was at home last year, 34-7. And in second overtime, it is Roosevelt just converting a 2-point conversion to lead 35-27 against Lincoln. So Lincoln has to score otherwise, and get a 2-point conversion, otherwise the game is over. Next up on the score update, oh, pardon me, excuse me, Sierra Hill just one of the athletic directors at Roosevelt telling me triple overtime. Regardless,
okay.
This game is in overtime, so we'll get to you a final.
We don't know which one, Sean, but they're there.
It is in overtime. We'll get to you a final from the Roosevelt-Lincoln game in our post-game show. John Dakin, public address for the Jefferson Democrats with the score. Jefferson 26, Ida B. Wells at 14 at the half. Jefferson looking to win their 4th consecutive meeting against Wells. And finally, McDaniel at Cleveland, the 2 bottom teams in the PIL this year, combined 1 of 9 overall and 0-6 in league play. One of these 2 schools is looking to get their first PIL win of the year. And in the 3rd quarter, with about a minute to go, it is Cleveland with a 1-point lead over McDaniel, 16-15. This concludes our halftime show. Join us for second half action next as Grant with a 21-0 lead over Franklin. You're listening to live high school football action on AM 1450 KBPS. 3 minutes, please.
And Sean, if you follow Austin White on Twitter,
Yeah.
he has stats
Okay,
for this
you
game.
bring it up.
All
Bring
right,
it up
45.
after-
Actually, Moto, you do that.
Okay.
Okay. Grant 20 to 100.
It's at McDaniel? Oh, my gosh.
You're asked to work that one?
Whoa. Okay.
This
Thank
is the
you,
one.
Kevin.
Remember when we talked about all those penalties
Yeah,
that they
the-
have?
Okay.
That
And
says
then
it, right?
Grant General's
45
was
to 0. So I would, when we come back, if you want it, I know you've been talking, that's kind of been your sort of narrative in this, and I would bring that up, right? Like, this is going to be something that we're going to be watching for at the start of this half.
Got it.
Thank you.
Should I mention any of that?
Yeah, you can. What I would do is, again, think of it as like nuggets. It's like a drip, 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 right? So, you know, you start out talking about this, and then, so Grant's going to come out on the field first. So then you start talking about, you know, like, this is their quarterback. These are the stats that he's had. So you kind of talk about that. And then if this guy has another play, you talk about that. So don't feel like it has to be like everything. You just kind of break it up into little pieces.
And see what I can do in that time.
Exactly, exactly.
Thank you. Actually, can we come back in 30 seconds, please? Okay, thank you.
No, it's fine.
No, we're fine.
We're fine. We might miss the little first part of this, but that's okay. Oh, they got to wait for the end of this anyways.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
State-sanctioned 3-minute break. Sean, we'll be just fine, Scott.
Okay.
Oh, my allergies are flaring up. I can feel it.
Uh-oh. Thank you. Grant leading Franklin 21-0 as the third quarter about to begin. Alongside Sam Tung and student Moto, Sean Philipsen on hand. You have stats, Moto?
Yes, Grant has 127 total yards, Franklin with 126. Though with this entire game, Franklin has had a lot of penalties, adding up to about 45 yards.
And it's a short kickoff. Wow, one of the Franklin guys came from behind and kneed him in the back.
Well,
and a flag comes out as well after the play.
And it looks like they tried to do the onside kick maybe, or did the ball fall off the tee? I mean, it definitely looked like that was an intentional, like, we're just going to kind of try to sneak one by Grant, but instead Grant's going to get the ball with terrific field position. And here's the thing too, Sean.
Yes.
Big heads-up play. Who was that? Was it Cameron Reed? I can't quite tell who that person was. That was the heads-up play there on the hands team, but smart play, making sure, like, look, you're always got to be paying attention, right? As Grant tried to get a turnover back, but instead Grant's going to get the ball with decent position, although it looks like there's a penalty on the play too.
It was unsportsmanlike conduct against Grant.
You know, especially with that kind of thing at the end with being kneed in the back. I mean, something like that where that's just that can really kind of mess up somebody if you get hit really hard in the back, and then you can just feel it for the rest of the game. So that's kind of an interesting thing, and how it's dealt with, because there could be one thing, and it has a lasting impact for the rest of the game.
Waters in motion, 1st and 10. Siegel hands it off to Owens. Flag comes out as well. Owens shoves off a guy and gets out of bounds close to the 40, but there is a flag all the way back at the 31. Probably a holding call.
Yeah, I think that was absolutely in the area of holding there. And yep, that's what it's going to be. So, you know, Moto, you just talked literally 30 seconds ago about how Grant, no penalties in the first half, Franklin 45 yards, and here we are, Grant with 25 yards of penalties in the first 10 seconds of the second half. So, you know, we talked a lot at halftime about how can Franklin, you know, regain some momentum here, right? And how can they try to reassert their will on the game. And, you know, we had talked about how Grant sort of settled in, and here we are all of a sudden. It's actually Grant is the team that's making a lot of these mistakes early in the half.
Exactly. I mentioned in the open that Grant had some penalties themselves, as Owens on the ball carrier on 1st and 25, being brought down to the 25-yard line. 4-yard run for him, and that will bring up 2nd down for Grant.
You know, with the start of that, Grant's just trying to make me look like a liar.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. They knew what you said.
Grant has 0 penalties. Immediately gets how many yards with that?
25.
25.
In 2 plays.
In 2 plays. So, yeah, Grant's just trying to make me look like a liar here.
They call that the announcer's jinx, Moto.
There you go. 2nd down and 20 for Grant. Siegel all by himself in the shotgun. All the receivers 5 wide out in the formation. Siegel, quick throw, and it is incomplete. Intended for Moses down in the slot position. 3rd down for Grant.
Siegel slow to get up on that one too, as he took a pretty big shot, and I think they might have to take, is he going to come out of the game here? He is. It looks like maybe Cameron Reed, the backup quarterback, is going to get some time because, oh no, he's just going back to get the play call, but that might be also intentional too by the Grant coaching staff to give their quarterback a quick break there, because that was immediate pursuit. They tried to throw it to the near side, and Siegel just got crunched there in the backfield.
3rd and 20 from the 25-yard line. They need to get to the 44 to convert. Siegel pressured, throws, and it's caught at the 40. It's still on his feet. Now the whistles blow it dead. Nice catch by Clark for Grant. Boy, he tried to keep moving. Good effort by Clark. Light on the tackle.
Is that going to be enough?
For Franklin, don't know yet. Chains is yet to move.
I think they are going to be maybe a half a yard short here. Let's see where they spot this. Yep, it's going to be 4th and
2.
No, 4th and, what is that? 2 feet. Looks like they have to get the ball to the 42. So it's going to be 4th down and, 4th and inches, about the length of that football, and Grant's going to go for it.
Not surprising at this rate. 10 minutes left in the 3rd. Franklin's defense has to come up big to blitz. Siegel, shotgun, whistle sounding. Possible timeout, yes. Timeout, Grant will step aside for 30. 9:55 left, 3rd quarter, 21-0 Grant lead over Franklin on KBPS.
Oh.
That's what I was looking at.
Thank you.
We have a bee in the studio.
9:55 left in the 3rd. 21-0 Grant lead. 4th and inches for the Generals. They're going to go for it. And during this timeout, Sam, I think for head coach Alex Melson, they want to get the right setup in for the 1st down.
Well, and here's the thing is, it's a gutsy call. I'd be curious if they're still going to go for it here because, and it looks like they are, but no, certainly gutsy. You got to respect the heck out of Grant right now. They're playing to win right now. They're not playing not to lose, and it's certainly impressive.
Owens in the backfield, shotgun formation, 4th and 1 from the 42, 9:55 left, 3rd quarter. Siegel adjusting up at the line. Secondary backing up. Siegel will run it inside. He is stopped
Oh, that's going to be awfully. I think he got it.
Unless if he got close to that first down marker by a nose, he did get the first.
Wow.
What a run
What
by
an effort.
Siegel.
What an effort.
You know, there was just a bee that was flying in where we're broadcasting from, and I think it just left.
Oh, there we go.
So that's what I was paying attention to, is the bee that was flying right over my head.
As you mentioned, Sam, a Gucci 4th down call. Give it to the quarterback, Kellen Siegel. Let him run. That's the second 4th down conversion for Grant with using Siegel as a runner. 9:22 left in the third. Siegel on 1st down. Drops back. Throws deep over the right side. He's got a man and nobody there for the catch. Oh, boy.
Pass intended for Hofford, incomplete.
Hofford, the intended receiver on the play, burned one of the secondary men out for Franklin by a good 2 yards, but couldn't make the catch in stride.
Well, and it looked like that time, too, the throw maybe just out over his head, but great. It was the right throw, you know, and had his man there, but just you know, about a yard too far. And Franklin is lucky that could have been another 6 for Grant. So, you know, Franklin lucky that one was overthrown.
All by himself, man in motion on 2nd and 10. It is Owens rolling left before being pursued. One of the players for Franklin was Galvez out to get him. Pickup of 2, maybe 3 on the play, and that will bring up 3rd and 8 for Grant.
Really what's going to ultimately happen here, Sean, is the second half is just going to kind of be the story of, you know, 3rd down. And can Franklin get off the field on 3rd down? And you've already seen on this drive, 1 3rd down conversion, 1 4th down conversion. So, you know, Franklin, if they continue to give up these 3rd and 4th downs, I mean, we're already seeing quite a bit of that clock being chewed by Grant right now. So Franklin needs to get this offense back on the field.
Flagged out on the field first before the snap. And this will be a delay a game on Grant, not a false start.
Yeah, I saw the flag from the back judge. It looked like he was signaling for a false start. And Moto, I have to say, I just killed the bee for you there, buddy.
Thank you for that.
3rd and 13 now, guys, for Grant. Ball spotted at the 42-yard line, 8:20 left to go in the third. Siegel all by himself in the shotgun. Jaden Moses in the slot, tight end on the right side. It is 3rd and 13. Siegel is pressured. He is being held down, and he is sacked on the play by Brumfield. That's a big play for the Lightning. 4th down, and Grant is forced to punt.
You know, the audience, which is right in front of where we're sitting, a ton of them have signs, I believe, from what I can see. Just everyone has signs, and it's really interesting.
Well, it's a big, you know, that was a big tackle by Brumfield there for a big season for Franklin so far. So not surprised to see a terrific crowd here at Franklin. And that was the defensive play of the game so far for the Lightning, Sean, no question.
Siegel to punt. Max Wallace, the junior, on the punt return. He will not elect to return it, and the ball will bounce backwards all the way down to the 20 of the ball being down at the spot. And Franklin will head back out on offense, and we have a player
just lost
getting
his shoe.
shoe.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. He collapsed in the middle of the field, but no, he just needed to put his shoe back on. Look, Sean, this is the drive that we're going to figure out if Franklin is going to be able to make much progress. And I feel like even though it's the third quarter, they got to score 3 touchdowns, and they also have to play against a Grant offense that very clearly is running quite a bit of clock. So, you know, for Franklin, this is a critical drive to see if they can regain some of that momentum.
Absolutely. Reed in the shotgun himself on 1st and 10. It's Heintzman on the carry and up to the 22-yard line on the play. 2nd down for the Lightning.
I'm also going to be curious to see as well if Franklin gets back to what really was successful on the first couple drives of this game, which was, you know, a lot of those slot receivers, you know, quick slants, quick curls, you know, 6, 7, 8 yards at a time. I'm going to be curious if Franklin's able to kind of get back to that offense rather than feeling like they have to play catch up.
Heinzman on 2nd and 9, getting pursued by Grant. Man.
It's kind of interesting with the statistics of Franklin is statistically the better performing team here. That's not really what we've seen tonight. From the previous game I did do here, it did seem like Franklin was beating the other team, but it's kind of interesting to see. I believe the last time Franklin and Grant were together, Franklin lost.
Yeah, it was a blowout.
Yeah, it was a blowout.
It was a blowout.
Reed on 3rd and 11, following the 2-yard loss. Reed will roll left and get out of bounds. Jeremiah Fuller on that last play made the tackle. That time collided up there with Jalen Hill, the left end for Grant on the far sideline. 4th down, Franklin will be forced to punt as Grant switching to their special teams unit defensively.
Well,
flag out as well. Sorry, Sam.
No, that's fine. I was just about to say 3 and out, but let's see what the flag is here. Maybe an unsportsmanlike on Grant. They're kind of looking.
That would hurt Grant big time. It is unsportsmanlike conduct on the Generals.
Oh, jeez. And look, that is, you know, I'm looking right at Coach Melson, who is just, he can't believe it. They force a 3 and out. After having their own issues, they're able to, after a really good punt, they're able to gain a couple first downs, eat a little clock, and now there's a conversation that the officials are having with Coach Melson, because that is an absolute killer.
Yeah, instead of it being 4th down, it's a 1st down following the unsportsmanlike penalty. That's twice tonight it has been on Grant. Last week for the Generals, they had penalties issued against them. They had to overcome 4 turnovers and 13 penalties against the win against Lincoln. 1st and 10 is Heinzman, and he gets brought down to the 46.
This Heinzman Brumfield, I think that might actually have been Brumfield. They've got this kind of 1-2 punch in the backfield, and
yeah.
Look, I'm going to be super curious now how Grant's defense responds, because it's a demoralizing hit, and Franklin clearly took a couple of those in the first half, and we see what the scoreboard is now. So be curious how Grant responds.
It's Brumfield again on the carry. He lost the ball. He got it back, though. He's going to be pushed back. Wow. What a recovery, though, by Brumfield. Lost the ball on the left side, and Fuller there to get it.
Finishing what I was saying previously, with that, it was a blowout the last time, and but the last time Franklin played against the Generals. It's kind of interesting to think, is there something specifically between these two teams that, is there anything that's shown like that?
I don't think so, and I think as there was some confusion there on the substitutions, you know, it's a great point, Moto. Let's pick it up after this break, Sean, because I do feel like we need to kind of reiterate the fact of how kind of unpredictable this matchup is.
4:45 left in the third. 21-0 Grant lead. Back in a moment on KBPS 30. Thank you. Thank you. Franklin back on the offensive end. It is 3rd and 6 from their own 41-yard line. They need to get to Franklin's 47-yard line on their own end to continue the drive. Reed on third down. Pressure comes, gets a block. He gets sacked on the play. Thomas Browning, the right outside linebacker and sophomore, one of two on starting tonight on defense, comes out to make the big sack on Will Reed.
And it looked like Browning that time maybe was like a quarterback spy, because it was a delayed blitz, because he was just sort of, I guess, kind of sitting in a zone or just spying on the quarterback, and then all of a sudden, out of a cannon, came to sack Reed. So terrific defensive play, and look, a terrific response after a mental mistake on that personal foul penalty, getting right back off the field.
Ethan Owen punting.
Amon on the punt, and Grant will return it from the 24. It is Waters on the return, and he gets tackled by Franklin right at the 26-yard line.
So, Moto, before that last break, we were talking, a bit about kind of
The unpredictability.
how surprising really this this matchup is. You have to consider, Sean, the improvement that Franklin has had year over year. We did a couple of games last year for the Lightning, and obviously, as you said, how many years is it in a row Grant's won the league for?
Three coming
looking for their fourth. So, you have to go from a team. I remember our game last year was whether or not Franklin would win their first game of the season most of the way through the year to where they're at now. But certainly this is a time they got to dig deep and try to maybe find a play on defense to get them back in this game.
Siegel on first down, screen pass complete, and brought out of bounds. On the reception is Manigo for Grant.
And this is such a, kind of going to where we're playing here, it is such a beautiful field and a beautiful school, because this was just rebuilt a couple of years ago, and I know I have the dates, but I have such little time here, I'm just not going to check that. But it's such a beautiful school, and it's such a nice little property that they use.
So what's interesting, Sean, is I actually grew up in Mount Tabor, and the thing about this facility that I still won't get over is that they totally turn the field 90 degrees, and every time I come here, it still throws me off that we're kind of oriented this way. But you're absolutely right, Moto. Perfect night for football.
Siegel on the quarterback keeper, lost helmet on the play. Flag comes out, tackle made. 2 flags actually out on the field.
I wonder if maybe that's going to be a face mask, because that helmet flew off.
Benson Diebel, the right guard junior, lost his helmet on the play.
Now, I believe he does have to sit out a play for having the helmet off, unless it was torn off.
If it's torn off, it's a different story.
Right, so that is... I have no idea what they're calling. Well, it's going to be on Grant.
Yeah, because the penalty against
That's
Grant.
all I know.
So they're pushing him back.
Maybe it was like oh, you know what I think it might have been? It might have been like an ineligible player downfield. I can't quite tell what that was, but yeah, Grant's definitely moving backwards 10 yards.
And I actually have the dates here. Franklin moved back into this brand new school in just 2017. Or sorry, Franklin moved into this brand new school in 2017. Grant moved into their school in 2019. And I kind of wonder with the 2019 if moving to that temporary hotel school, and I'm not sure if they moved to a hotel school, but I wonder whether that affected their scores with having kind of worse facilities for several years.
2nd and 20 for Kellen Siegel. Siegel drops back, throws on the screen, complete to Moses, rolling right. He gets to the edge, first down, past the 40, out of bounds near the 48-yard line.
And Sean, I think that play there is the entire game in a nutshell. Oh, and there's another flag. Of course it's the entire game in a nutshell, because there's a flag. What else would it be without another penalty?
All the way back down to the 16-yard line.
Flag down behind the play. But look, that's another example of where really Grant's been able to win on the edge with these athletes. And it's going to be a hold, and that might be part of the reason
Yeah.
that he won on the edge there. As boy, it has been a tale of two halves, hasn't it? Where it's just now Grant can't stop getting out of their own way. And interesting note here, Marshawn Waters kind of stumbling around on the near sideline. So that's certainly something to pay attention to as well. Really the best player on the field for both teams. Certainly the best athlete on the field for both teams is hobbling a little bit. Looks like maybe his right leg, right ankle is what he's favoring a bit.
He is getting looked at with the trainers down there to see if he'll come back. It is 2nd down and 35 from the 9-yard line.
Oh my gosh.
With under 3 minutes to go in the third. Siegel rolling to the left. He now throws it, and the pass is intercepted on the play by Landau. That's the defense that Franklin needed right there.
We're going to have to wonder, I kind of wonder, we have to see whether that kind of burst of energy and something like that is really what is going to give the Lightning what they need in this second half with 2 minutes and 48 seconds left in this quarter.
And I think, look, it is what they needed. Not only was it the energy, but they're going to get the ball inside the red zone. So that was the absolute worst case scenario for for Grant. But finally, Franklin catches a really big break in scoring position.
Brumfield he lost the ball, and Grant gets the ball right back.
Poor pitch. As they say, and remember the Titans, Sean, you can throw the ball a mile, but you can't pitch it 3 yards.
Not at all.
And that was huge mistake by Reed. And I think the thing ultimately that it was that pitch play, and it was behind Brumfield. And Brumfield, who's already, trying to pick up that head of steam. And, man, Franklin, every time they feel like they have the door is ajar, they just shut it on themselves. And they've been doing this now nearly for 3 quarters, and it's starting to feel like maybe that's very well might be the trend for the rest of this one.
Siegel back on the offensive end through the pick last drive. Handoff, Owens, left side, and pursued. One of the players out to get him, Jamal Brumfield, on defense.
I know. Brumfield is he's like, I gotta try to get a turnover here on get it right back. But look, clock's gonna run here. It's depending on how the rest of this drive goes, you have to think that Franklin is going to go the entire quarter and they're going to go scoreless again. So the question is going to be, can they turn on the Jets and try to force another turnover? Because at this point, that's really how they're going to be able to turn this thing around. Is we also see Waters now on the near side, helmet off, still talking to those trainers. So TBD on if he's going to be able to return, but certainly not a good sign seeing the way that he looks right now.
Fuller on the carry. I misspoke last play. It is 2nd and 10. Over the top, complete to Fuller. Manigo is into the end zone. Touchdown, Grant.
It was that sluggo route, that slant and go, and the Franklin corner bit on it, and all of a sudden, Manigo with the great over-the-shoulder catch, which I saw him practicing pregame. A terrific throw that time by Siegel, too, for 6. And, boy, what a great route, great play call to say, you know what, let's take one deep, but that slant and go, really, after all that dinking and dunking Grant did all game, it paid off on that one.
Andrew Gray for the extra point attempt. It is good. 1:43 left to go in the third. Grant increasing their lead 28-0 over Franklin on KBPS. Thank you.
That was a good play.
I'm definitely getting what I wanted out of tonight.
Good.
More comfortable.
Good.
10 away.
I'm comfortable on the air. Just a little uncomfortable here.
28-0 Grant in total control over Franklin on the road, looking to potentially secure their 4th consecutive PIL title, whether if they have won it outright or alone. They're in command. They have really brought the defensive intensity tonight, have Grant. Yeah,
and they've brought the intensity, Sean, but look, Franklin is who is beating Franklin right now.
They're beating themselves.
They are, and there's no. They had, between these now 3 turnovers, and just it's really, really tough to win these football games when you're losing the turnover battle.
And Maxwell's on the ball return for Franklin. And Franklin back on the offensive end with 1:36 to go in the 3rd quarter. Franklin will need to score in rapid fire and get a defensive score. The defense, primarily for what has Franklin been on this winning streak, has let them down tonight. They're out on the field a lot longer than what they should be doing.
Well, and you had made the point too that Franklin's scoring 40+ points in league play, and they've been zipped so far.
Before the snap, whistle sounding. We have an official's timeout on the field.
You kind of got to wonder, and it's kind of a little bit becoming more evident with, at the beginning of the game, we were talking about how no one really knows how this game is going to go, and we're really not sure. But it's kind of becoming more solidified whether we know who's going to win this game or not.
1st and 10 on the carry for Franklin. Gang pile ensues, and that was Heintzman on the carry for Franklin before 3 white shirts for Grant came out to get him.
Well, and Grant clearly still fighting, trying to get a strip on that play too. But, if I'm Franklin, I need a little more sense of urgency here. This game isn't over. But
not by a long shot.
Huddling, running the ball, like they're going to really have to turn on the jets, try to make this thing interesting, because you don't know if Grant's going to turn the ball over, and you just got to find that type of energy.
Reed on 2nd and 8. Reed will now throw it, almost intercepted. Almost picked off by Markel Young. I see number 22 down there for Grant. Nearly had that in his hands.
And that should have been a pick. That was the easiest interception of the whole game, Sean, and he just flat dropped it. I think he was just so surprised that it was thrown right to him. And honestly, I'm a little surprised that there was a Franklin player behind him that nearly caught it too. So, this Franklin offense that started out so sharp is really gotten a little bit sloppier here as the game's gone on.
3rd and 8. Reed is pressured and sacked. 4th down on the play. Benson Diebel, the D tackle in there to get at Will Reed. Reed has just had an off game tonight, trying to find any breathing room with his receivers. But when that happens, they're either locked down in the secondary from Grant, or he's been able to find any passes.
Well, and it's tough when you're getting that type of pressure, you're trying to make big plays, and this Grant defensive line really has played well. They've even with Brumfield being as big of a load as he is, it's really felt like this Grant defense has kept him in check, and overall, it's been nearly a muffed kick or punt catch too.
High snap ball, punt down out of bounds around the 48-yard line, and will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter from Franklin. Lightning have some work to do, down 28-0 to Grant. 4th quarter is next on KBPS. Thank you. Thank you. 10 away. Fourth quarter underway from Franklin. Grant is 12 minutes away from winning their fourth consecutive game and potentially a lock for the PIL title this year for the fourth year in a row, not counting the 2020 campaign. And we have Cameron Reed in at quarterback now as Kellen Siegel's game may come to an end on the carry. Good run for Grant is Moses, and that will bring up second down. He got a yard, if anything, on the carry, did Moses. So Cameron Reed, the junior quarterback, will get some action now with a 28-0 lead. Clock running, 30 seconds gone here in the fourth quarter.
To kind of mention with how, Sam, how you'd mentioned like the Franklin defense kind of getting tired with when you aren't getting these points. I'll hold my thought there.
As Moses on the ball carrier, good run on the right side, right hash mark, inside to the 38-yard line.
When you aren't getting these points and you're not kind of getting this stuff to refill that energy when you're on the field, you just kind of get tired and there's nothing to replenish that, and you're just kind of getting bogged down with your own weight.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, where it just kind of feels like in this second half, Franklin's defense has just been on the field a lot, you know, and you know, when you're down 28, you're trying to make a play. It's certainly not just physically exhausting, but mentally as well.
3rd and 3 for Grant before the snap flag comes out.
Changing quarterback too, Sean.
Yes, Cameron Reed for Grant. We have a false start on Grant. Knock him back 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and 8.
And that really, look, is the unofficial, we feel like we've got this one in the bag to put in Cameron Reed, and we'll have to see if he continues. Yeah, it looks like Siegel is just going to stay on the sideline. I have not seen Waters either. I'm trying to find him on the sideline, but my guess is that his night is done as well. Oh, no, he is back on the field on the sideline. So that's very good to see, Sean, that, you know, again, the electric Marshawn Waters is back out there for Grant.
Hoffert in motion for Grant. 3rd and 8. Pressure comes. Throw over the middle. Nobody home. Cash Landau was back under coverage for Franklin. 4th down. Grant will be forced to punt.
To kind of add on to what I was saying with, I'm sure that it's just kind of getting that snowball effect for Grant with they got the beginning and it's just kind of added on and on and on and on, and it's just kind of, again, snowballing into a really good game for Grant, and Franklin is just kind of getting blown out.
Max Wallace back for the punt, and Siegel back on for the punt for Grant. And the snap to Siegel, gets it away, skies this one. Plenty good hang time. Wallace will let the ball bounce, and it will roll inside the 5 to around the 1, it looks like.
I think they might blow it at the 4. What a terrific punt.
That was, and a flag out as well at the 30 after the punt.
Penalty marker on the play.
Can't tell if there's a little jawing happening here.
Yeah.
There's a little extracurriculars here, Sean.
Potentially, yes. That's bound to happen when a shutout or a blowout comes into effect.
It's kind of a little confusing what's going on here, and I mean, even with our view here in the press box, we can't see everything, so it's trying to see what's going on.
No, it isn't unsportsmanlike on Franklin.
And that's the worst possible thing to have happen
Well,
now.
not entirely true. I mean, they're going to lose, what, 2 yards? Ball's at the 4, so you put it down at the 2. So, you know, what would have been the worst possible scenario is Grant, or doing that not as a dead ball. So Well, Franklin's going to have to go 98 yards, Sean, and time is slowly ticking away. Now the big question is if Grant's going to be able to hold on to this shutout.
Yeah, that'll be kind of interesting with 9 minutes on the clock, just about almost 10 minutes on the clock. It'll be interesting to see if they can just hold it for as long as they can.
Reed continuing to work at quarterback. 1st and 10, handoff to Brumfield up the middle before being tackled, and he's still moving around and gets down. Brumfield's a tough man to bring down when he gets his legs moving.
Yes, he is. My only concern right now, Sean, and obviously you don't want to take all your guys out, but you know, if you're handing the ball off to Brumfield and with as physical as he is, my only concern obviously is, you know, are they going to, you certainly don't want to risk an injury because that he clearly is such an important part of that offense, and so I'll be kind of curious how much they rely on him on this drive.
On the handoff, Brumfield on 2nd down, still plowing through players, still on his feet, and finally a couple Grant players on the right side bring him down.
You know, it's funny when Brumfield runs the ball, it's sort of like he takes the contact, and whatever direction the defender tries to pull him down, he just sort of runs in that direction. So in this case, he was just running straight up the middle, got sort of sidetracked by a defender, and ended up on the far side of the field. So I do respect just sticking your head down and just taking the contact and going for it. And, you know, Brumfield really has had a nice game today. It's just been, you know, he's had a fumble. He had a bad pitch in his direction. So, you know, just a couple errors offensively. It really kind of, to your point, Moto, just really snowballed for Franklin.
Brumfield did not play in last week's game. Throw from Reed, incomplete through the hands of Landau. And back under coverage for Grant.
No,
couldn't identify it in time.
I have it here. It's Markel Young.
Young,
It
okay.
was in coverage. And good coverage that time, too. Not getting that pass interference, being able to turn around, fight for the ball. And even if he was had a bigger receiver on him, certainly good coverage getting in his way to defend that pass.
8:24 left to go in the 4th. Grant up 28-0. 2nd and 10 for Franklin. Reed in the shotgun formation yet again. Heintzman in at running back now. Reed gets the snap, throws, outstretched hands of Wallace couldn't corral it. Incomplete pass.
You know, kind of adding on to what I was saying, with it snowballing for Grant with kind of getting these points, but kind of also with what you said, Sam, with Franklin, how it just kind of snowballed with them as well, kind of bringing them down, I don't know, almost like the pit. It's just kind of snowballing down this hill into the pit. It's kind of an interesting thing.
Yeah, and they really have lost a lot of that momentum, and it feels like they've kind of been trying to find themselves in that groove really for the last 2 quarters and just haven't been able to hit their stride.
3rd and 10 for Franklin. 8:24 left to go in the game. Reed drops back, throws right. Great catch in traffic at the 25-yard line. And that should be the first down.
Look, that was, for Will Reed, that was maybe his best throw of the night, where had a man in coverage, but while that defender was on the outside of him, he was able to throw, you know, kind of that inside shoulder down away from the defender for him to make a play and gave his player an opportunity. Really nice throw, showed off his arm strength there.
Amon on the reception, 1st down. 1st and 10, Reed rolling to the left, floats it high, and incomplete into the Grant sideline.
And you know, that play right there for Reed, the rollout, nothing's there, throw it away, that is definitely, you know, learning on the job, right? Where there's been a few times when he's tried to get a couple more yards and it ends up being a sack, or a couple more yards, throws an interception. But that time, you know, if it isn't there, throw it away. We'll live to see another down, but it's kind of one of these things that you can't win the game on that throw, but you certainly can lose it, and it does feel like that's a big evolution. Nice play there by the quarterback.
My goodness, Grant swarmed the back that time.
Yeah, they did.
Just a solo tackle effort by the Generals.
And really impressive effort by this Grant defensive line from start to finish. You know, that pursuit hasn't quit, and it continues to show on the scoreboard where even as Franklin feels like maybe they're going to get a little momentum, Grant comes right back with a sack, comes right back with a tackle for loss, comes right back with a, blow up a screen play, blow up a sweep play. So really that defensive line has been the story of the night for Grant so far.
3rd and 13, 7:21 left to go in the game. Reed drops back, pump fakes, and he is sacked. Gang pile ensues yet again.
That's the one more time.
Yeah, Franklin at this point, you may have to elect to just go 4-down territory, give yourself a chance just to get a point on the board. As Franklin this year, they have not been shut out at all upon their win streak starting the year 4-0. And I realize we're at the top of the hour, so I will do a top of the legal ID right now. You're listening to AM 1450 KBPS in Portland. 4th down. Go ahead, Moto.
With it being a Friday instead of a Thursday, there's been a couple Thursday games this season, and I believe next week is a Thursday with Franklin at Jefferson.
Yes.
I'll hold that thought.
As we have a punt all the way down to the 35, and it will be returnable for Grant. It's Milan Clark. Clark breaking free, right side, down the sideline. Couple flags are out, but Clark scores. Flags out. Probably illegal block to the back on Grant. So this touchdown will be negated unless the referees change something.
You're right, Moto. We are going to see this same Franklin team next week. Certainly going to be interesting to see how they respond to this. And I'm going to be pretty sure, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And boy, look, if you're going to get the block in the back call, Sean, you might as well get your money's worth. And that's exactly what happened there. But Clark, another, Grant's obviously won this game because of the turnover battle. I feel like that's probably the kind of the primary reason why. You would have thought maybe in the first half it was because of the penalties, but obviously in the second half they've been the more penalized team. But one of the underrated parts of this Generals team is this special teams. They have 2 return guys that both can turn on the jets. They had a terrific punt pinning Franklin inside their own 5. It really feels like the unsung hero here for Grant has been that special teams, and that's probably what put this one away.
1st and 10. It's Jeremiah Fuller on the ball carrier for a pickup of 9 on the run down the middle.
We are now officially in chew the clock mode.
Yeah, chew clock situation for Grant.
Chew the clock mode, but also, I think for Grant, this is absolutely a, let's get some reps for certain guys against a really good Franklin front 4. And I think that this is, if anything, this is a big learning opportunity for some of these younger guys on the Grant side, because this is probably the best front 4 that they're going to see all year.
Man in motion. And it will be Reed keeping it himself and will get the first down inside the 35 to the 33.
With what I was going to finish saying there, but those Thursday games, you really got to wonder what the players' energies are on Friday at school, how they're probably just like, it's an energy-intensive sport, and I think most sports are. So it's kind of interesting. Kind of wondering how it's different between a Thursday game and a Friday game when you look at something like that with how much energy they're willing to put forward.
Well, and it's also a short week, too. So it's going to be curious to see, if you're kind of thrown off your routine, probably energy and then the routine as well.
High snap, handoff to Fuller on the play, short gain on the run. By the way, the game we're covering next week, as Moto had mentioned, Jeff and Franklin at Jeff. Jefferson at the end of the 3rd quarter lead Wells 26-14. And if with Franklin losing soon in tonight's game, Franklin will need to have all the momentum going into the final stretch of games if they're able to, make ground to maybe co-tie with Grant for the PIL title.
Well, this is going to be a tough one for Franklin to swallow.
It is. Reed on second down, rolls left, gets the first down, and gets tackled on the play.
Well, you talk about, Moto, you were mentioning just kind of the energy level, and I think right now, Brumfield, I saw in that play, was maybe had a chance to make an arm tackle, and he's certainly strong enough to do it, but instead just let Reed run right by him, because it really, I think you can see this Franklin defense is, you know, they've faced a pretty solid Grant offense today, you know, especially those receivers and how athletic they have looked today. But what's interesting too now is how athletic Reed is in the backfield, certainly a lot more mobile than we saw with Siegel, and frankly a new look for Grant here in this quarter.
Handoff to Fuller, gets the first down, continues to move, lost his helmet down there. Nonetheless, Grant moving the chains upfield.
I think that might have been a Franklin player that lost their helmet.
Yeah, number 50, it is Dane Hartman for the Lightning as he gets to come off the field for a play.
3 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock with a stopped clock right now.
28-0 Grant in the lead and cruising to win their 4th game in a row. And with Franklin, their 4-game winning streak coming into the game tonight themselves, as well as winning 7 straight games from dating back to last year to win their final 3 games, will come to an end, as this game is in a runaway situation. Reed hands it off to Fuller up the middle, and the game tackle ensues for Franklin.
Now, Sean, we
Yes.
talked pregame
Yes,
about all the shutouts
Yes.
on KBPS.
that's correct.
What is the scoop on the KBPS shutout? Because it's feeling like that's what this may end up turning into.
Well, I thought this would be a competitive game, granted with how both teams came in.
We had spoken, the streak is ending tonight.
Yeah. We've had one too many shutouts or blowouts this year, that's for sure. But
So
Grant
is
is having none of it.
So what is it? Is this 3 in a row? 4 in a row?
I think every game we've called this year has resulted in a blowout or a shutout.
Okay. We'll try to get the official stat here in a minute on the total shutouts.
I wonder if we're just unlucky for whatever team we're
Yeah,
playing
exactly.
at.
One of the two teams is going to be unlucky.
We got a penalty flag out on the field. This will be a delay of game on Grant, which will put him back 5 yards. 2nd down and 11, 2:07 to go in the 4th.
And that energy that we kind of talked about, Sam, that what is it, Franklin? My brain's completely working. Franklin doesn't have anything to replenish that energy with not getting those points and not getting that feedback. So I personally, I think it's kind of just snowballing. Like I said, I know I keep snowballing back into the snowballing metaphor. But they've got a fantastic facility, so I don't think it's anything like that.
Reed will throw. Nice catch in traffic. And gang tackle ensues by Franklin.
Well, and I think really what it comes down to is it's just at a certain point, it's just kind of the defense especially has been really worn down in this second half. But just, knowing what the score is and trying to keep yourself, engaged. I think that's really what we're kind of seeing from Franklin right now. And I'd just like to say too, Sean,
Yeah.
what a nice drive that Grant is putting together right now with the backup quarterback. Cameron Reed looks really athletic in the backfield, has a couple nice throws as well, and it's just, both quarterbacks for Grant have looked super sharp. So, if you're Coach Melson, you got to be thrilled with that.
And we have a handoff into the end zone. Actually, that's Reed who scores. Touchdown, Grant.
And Cameron Reed orchestrated that offense with all those running plays, couple nice throws, couple nice reads, and no pun intended, and certainly a terrific drive by Grant. You could make the argument that was the most impressive drive of the night. Chewed up a ton of clock, nearly the entire 4th quarter, just over a minute left in the game. Really impressive by Reed there.
1 minute and 11 seconds, 1-1-1.
There you go.
Gray on for the extra point attempt, up and through. 35-0 Grant lead over Franklin back in 30 seconds on KBPS. Thank you.
All right, we got to pull up the scores from the last KBPS.
Yeah.
Do you have them?
Gosh.
Come on, you have everything else. Surely you have that.
Thank you.
Under OSA 81.
101. We will have a running clock the rest of the game due to the deficit being above 35 points or more. So Grant will kick away. Referee signaling up to the press box to have the clock run. And Siegel,
Oh, no, they wanted the clock stopped.
oh, they want it stopped, excuse me. Okay.
They may have it stopped for change of possession. That might be the reason why.
Oh, kickoff.
Yeah, yeah. So because it's the kickoff, that's why they're stopping it. But should be running clock after that, I would think.
You have to wonder if they're going to add time back up because it was down to 101 remaining. Probably not at this juncture. Nonetheless, it will be Siegel to kick away for Grant. Wallace, one of the deep return men in there for the Lightning. 48 seconds to go, and the kick is away. Skies it high, and return from the 5-yard line. Nice little move upfield. And Peterson on the carry, on the return rather, for Franklin. And the clock will run for 35 seconds left to go in the game, and Franklin maybe will get a playoff before the game, or they'll just let this clock be content to go down to the end of the game.
I think we're going to see this one run out. And with 20 seconds left, Sean, yep, and Franklin's going to come off the field. So an absolutely, frankly, shocking outcome here. I know Grant was the higher seed in the state, but looking at Franklin's offensive capabilities, looking at Franklin's home crowd tonight, certainly a very surprising outcome here. But look, if there was any question about who the best team in the PIL is right now, Sean, I don't think there's any doubt that the Grant Generals are that team, and they made a statement tonight.
They certainly have. Grant will move up to 4-2 overall and claim first place with a 4-0 PIL league record. And Franklin will drop to 3-1 with their first loss of the year and 4-1 overall. We'll be back with our KBPS postgame show on AM 1450 KBPS. We'll do a minute and a half.
And Scott, we talked to Kevin. He's got a run, but we'll. What he did say was we'll just make sure that we catch up with him, like early in basketball season, because that's probably going to be the next place we catch up with him. So, but I know that but that'll be the plan. Oh, it's okay. It's all good.
Thank you.
Are you finding him?
I'm going as hurrying as I can.
Yeah, didn't they? That's going to be a tough. It's still. I forget every time I come here that that's the deal.
Thank you.
See you, Kevin.
Final score from Franklin High School. Grant has shut out Franklin 35-0. Sean Philipsen, Sam Tung, and Moto on hand for our KBPS post-game show. Gentlemen, final thoughts of tonight's contest?
Well, look, we talked about it right at the end of the game. It was a tough loss for Franklin, but certainly a statement win for Grant. And I think, Moto, we talked a lot about how difficult it was for Franklin once they got off to a slow start, and then it just sort of felt like they weren't ever able to get it back going. Whereas with Grant, they absolutely had a lot of that momentum, and then ultimately, they were able to just put their foot on the gas, and to shut out Franklin is quite the feat. But again, I know that we had talked quite a bit about that, that fact that while Grant started to kind of avalanche Franklin there towards the end, they just didn't have what it took to just get themselves back in this game at really any point.
Yeah, of course I'm going to use another metaphor here, which I think I'm going to be the only one who fully understands. But it was kind of like they put diesel in a gas car, and they were on an incline. And sure, it'll go backwards, but you're not going to get that started. And it was just Grant had the right fuel and just kind of was able to get that car going and was able to keep going and push through, which I think with Grant getting such a deep head start over Franklin, I think it just kind of snowballed from there. And Franklin just, again, they couldn't replenish that energy with winning anything, so they just weren't able to keep that going, and just kind of slowly started to lose that energy before there was nothing left.
And I think, Sean, when you talk about, when Moto was talking too about, they were losing it, really where they lost was in the battle of the trenches. Really where Grant won this game was the offensive line play, especially asserting themselves on that last drive. And then in particular on the defensive line, it felt like whether Franklin, they'd make incremental progress and then have a penalty, or they'd make incremental progress and take a sack or a tackle for loss. So, give a lot of credit. A couple of those interceptions too were because of the pressure from that Grant defensive line. So, if there was anywhere that Franklin lost tonight, that's really where it felt like they lost the game ultimately. Certainly Grant, tons of talent and athleticism on the outside, but they didn't even really need that tonight. It was just a lot of mistakes by Franklin, and then again, great play by that defensive line, getting pressure, and ultimately, eventually it got to the point where Franklin had to make bigger, longer yardage plays, try to kind of get away from the run game a little bit, and at that point, Grant was able to just turn on the Jets in the backfield, and they really did an excellent job of being able to contain that line of scrimmage. That's ultimately what won him the football game.
Quick stats, Franklin's Will Reed, 2 interceptions tonight for him and 2 fumbles. Not a great offensive game for him. Kellen Siegel, 2 touchdowns, well, technically 3 all-purpose touchdowns, 2 passing and 1 rushing. Cameron Reed also contributed in the fourth quarter on the last drive with a rushing TD. Hoffert and Waters and Manigault all had receiving touchdowns tonight for the Grant Generals. Now, you were asking me while we were in break of the blowouts and shutouts this year.
Oh, we got it.
So we have the final scores of all this here. Week 3, Week 4, and tonight. We have had 3 shutouts on our broadcast and 3 blowouts.
So what you're saying is next Thursday is going to be a tight one.
I don't know. After all of what I've seen this year, it could very well be a runaway because Franklin have to be very disappointed with the outcome tonight against Grant.
And remind us, too, what next Thursday is Franklin at Jefferson, yes?
Yes. Franklin will be visiting Jeff in North Portland, and Jeff had won their game tonight against Ida B. Wells as Jeff was hosting that game tonight. And the final score, Jefferson wins 26-14 over Wells. That is final. We also have a final score that went into triple overtime officially between Roosevelt and Lincoln. Going through historical perspectives of overtime games, if I can find it here. for Lincoln. It's their first triple overtime game since the playoffs in 2006, losing to Tualatin 21-14. And for their opponent tonight in Lincoln, if I can find it here, or excuse me, Roosevelt's first triple overtime game since 1997. The final score, it goes to Roosevelt as they win 35-27 in triple overtime. That's big time right there.
That is big time.
Yes. And the final game on the association tonight, it is Cleveland and McDaniel. The final score, 16-15, Cleveland the winner at McDaniel.
Well, look, if there was any final score that people, not only in this league but around the state, were curious on, as ultimately the likely winner of the PIL title, this is the one everyone was paying attention to. And I have a feeling that when people get that update on the box score, they're going to be pretty surprised at how dominant Grant was tonight.
Absolutely. Again, next week we'll be visiting North Portland to Jeff, as Jefferson will be hosting the Franklin Lightning. For more on our upcoming schedule for the foreseeable season, go to kbps.am. Special thanks to Scott Young filling in for Donna Negus tonight at the station, and also Joe Anderson working tonight's game on our YouTube channel. Special thanks to our special guests. We have Portland Tribune reporter Austin White and Blazers broadcasting broadcast equipment operator and Grant alum John LaCrofka for the pregame, and the athletic director at Franklin High School, Matt York. This concludes tonight's broadcast. Final score from Franklin, once again, the Grant Generals win their 4th game in a row, improving to 4-2, 4-0 in league play. Franklin drops to 3-1 in PIL play, and their first loss going 4-1, as Grant wins over Franklin 35-0. For Moto and Sam Tung, I am Sean Philipsen, and this has been live 6A PIL football action on AM 1450 KBPS. Good night.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.